in education administration at San Francisco.
Good morning, Tracy. I'm your host, Raj Singh, and we are here back with our show for TUSD candidates running for 2020 election, Your Choice for Better tomorrow. And so far, we have covered four candidates on our show, and we are going to have the fifth candidate today. And before I jump into the political arena of the show, first, I wanted to thank you to my co-host, Gurtej Atwal, who's my friend and always working with me on putting these shows together. So thank you so much, Gurtej. And as we can see, we have a third face with us, our new team member, um, Kamaljeet Singh Pannu. So I actually want Gurtej to introduce him and to tell us a little bit about him, who he is, where he works, and what kind of background he has. Gurtej, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, Kamaljeet Pannu, he is a educationalist, so with the education system since long. So currently working as a vice principal with Mountain House School. So I'll request Kamaljeet to, so please just share something about himself.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you guys for having me as well, Gurtej and Raj. I appreciate the opportunity to join you guys. My name is Kamaljeet Pannu. I'm a vice principal at Mountain House High School. This is my, oh, lordy lord, I think 12th, 13th year in education. Originally from England, moved to the Central Valley of California and headed to UC Davis for my undergrad. Then did my master's in education administration at San Francisco State, and then did my second master's at UC Davis and also got my teaching credential from there. Was in the Bay Area primarily for the last 8 years, and about 3 years ago, I moved over to the Central Valley, and I've been part of the Lambertville Unified School District. So thank you guys for having me.
No,
Thank you
thank
very much.
you.
So you're
We feel
always,
honored to have you on our show. So
yeah.
with your credentials and with the education background, all this program blends into that. So thank you.
Right. No, you're a
Yeah.
great proponent for the kids and for the education. So now I'll request you to please introduce our school board trustee candidate.
Okay, so everybody, I would have the honor of introducing Mr. Ajmer Maan. Mr. Maan is going to introduce himself and then also share a little bit about his background and his history and his educational upbringing. So, Mr. Maan, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Gurtej, Ms. Pannu, and Raj for having me today. And my name is Ajmer Singh Maan, and I grew up here in most of the United States since fifth grade. I did my schooling, my education from Stack State. I did my engineering degree, undergraduate bachelor's degree, and then I did my MBA. And also I did the classes for the master's engineering degree. And I have been working in the engineering field. I have about 15 years with the federal government, and then about 10 years in the private, uh, you know, uh, private industry as a cybersecurity. And my current role is as a cybersecurity engineer to making sure that uh, our devices and so forth are protected. So that's my background, and my children, everybody grew up and in the similar field, science fields, and so forth.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Mon. We appreciate you joining us. I think my next follow-up question is going to be, as you are running for the school board, what are your big priorities? What are the areas of emphasis that you want to bring to the forefront?
My main priorities are, first of all, is make sure children, all children are getting equal treatment, equal opportunity for education. Support the anti-bullying program that are ongoing in Tracy uh,
Hmm.
area, uh, and then have a program for teachers, awarding teachers for doing a good job, bringing up their students' education, qualifying them to be able to go to college and so forth. And since my background is in the STEM field, engineering, and I think STEM field is a great career profession for anybody who wants to go it. It's well rewarding and so forth, and it's one of the fastest growing. If you look out there in the industry, there are so many shortcomings of employees for that field. So I think we should concentrate much as we can on that. And then also I want to also talk about a little bit about the COVID, what's going on right now due to COVID, impact on the education, schooling, and so forth. Not just schooling, but also, as we all know, that all of you are probably doing the same thing. I am also working remotely due to COVID, and what that involves. in the benefits and so forth and the requirements to be able to successfully do that, the education. My son is currently in at UC Davis, and he is also studying remotely now, just like everybody else. So I already have some idea. Those kind of ideas I like to bring to the forefront to the school district. Okay.
Thank you very much, Ajmer, for sharing the top priorities, what you are standing for. So just to follow up one thing, so as the COVID is around the time, so it will be financial distress on school boards. So in May of this year, the Tracy School Board, it was having a deficit of 11 million because it's a big school board. Around 173 million is the budget of the school board. So how do you think going forward you will work in that direction to sustain the fiscal health of the school district?
As we all know, the COVID has required what we call, distancing, either staying not so close to the other people or wearing a mask and so forth, a combination. And so schools have already went into the mode of a remote education. So that is going to continue on until we find a cure for the pandemic. So we have to plan for it, and the budget, we have to work with the state, the county, wherever, different areas that can help us go through it, including the federal government. Uh, but, but we have to basically support the students. So that just like it has made additional requirement for us as employees and employers, that's we're going to have the similar type of impact on schools and students. Students, some of the students may not be able to, how do I say it, work so well with it. They will maybe need extra help to make sure that they can continue on with the education that they were having in the classroom. Other people, they already have computers and so forth, whatever it may be. Uh, then they already know about the system, or they have family members who know about the system. So my goal is, like I mentioned earlier, is try to work on giving equal treatment to all the students. Some of the students that need extra help, I would propose that we have a department that can help those parents and those students. If they don't have a computer, give them a basic, simple computer, laptop that they can work with, or help them set it up, make sure we can help them install, because this is how typically it's done with big companies. For example, myself, when I went to work, they basically gave me a computer that's already set up and so forth, with all the application that I need and so forth. So similarly, we probably already have it. We already have a department. Everybody does. So in the school IT department, maybe add a small group or whatever we want, but be able to make students and parents feel comfortable that we care for them and that we want them to not lag behind because of their own personal difficulties.
No, thank you very much, Admir. So you'll coordinate with the state government, federal government to make sure that our kids, they have all the resources, and the parents should be educated and have all the resources to continue the journey of their education. Now back to Mr. Panu.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I also heard you talk about was this notion of STEM education. And if you could just share a little bit more about that, about how you plan to address bringing in more students, members of the community, and highlighting the impact of STEM and how you can branch that out. So if you'd like to share a little bit more about that.
Yes, definitely. As I mentioned, myself, I'm an engineer, and my son is studying engineering, and there's a lot of you guys are, yourself are in that field. So my belief is that knowledge of mathematics and communication are crucial to each and every individual to be successful either in the professional field or in any, dealing with the public in general. So a lot of people uh, are not very comfortable with mathematics. So, but mathematics is not, like they say, rocket science. Mathematics can be learned. We all learn it. None of us are born with that knowledge. We learn it as we grow up. So the more knowledgeable people in mathematics we hang around with and so forth, student-wise, our schoolmates and so forth, teachers, our parents, our relatives, we can learn it. And I have been tutoring during my college days, and my son actually also does tutors right now, calculus at UC Davis. So it
Mhm.
does help you improve. I myself went through tutoring, you know, to be, I'm not, I was not born with this knowledge. So it can be learned. So I want students and their parents to feel that they can learn it. It's not for everybody. I understand that. But anybody who does want to go into this field, I think
Mhm.
we should provide the opportunity and the guideline for those students. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is a big, big field. We are the leaders in the world if you think about what the technology we have. I will mention I was part of the F-22 program, the fighter. That technology, first flight was in 1997. Nobody in the world still don't know how to build that technology, and we built it, what, 20, almost 25 years ago. Okay? We have the SR-71, which is also stealth technology. That is 60, 70 years old, and
Mhm.
nobody has been able to copy it. So
Mhm.
all this comes from the STEM field. Okay, so I think we have all the jobs that are open right now that are rewarding, that are well paying, and so forth, are out there, but we don't have enough students concentrating on that field. If my only right now my only thought is they're not getting the proper guidance, or they don't think it's the right field, or they don't have enough knowledge, they're afraid of it. When I was doing engineering, yeah, when I took physics, it was not easy. It's difficult for all of us. We
Mhm.
all know it, okay? But we do go through it and we learn it. And that's what I want to be. I want a proponent of that. And I think
Mhm.
it's a very rewarding career for anybody who wants it.
Mhm.
Man, girls, boys, whatever it may be. And it's not even for the people who are in the special education or who are physically handicapped, so forth. They all can learn it. And I'm a proponent of that. And that's what I would try to push or propagate more,
Mhm.
so we help them having tutoring centers, teachers spending extra time, and awarding those teachers for doing the encouragement, for giving that extra time, students, so forth. And this is also going to require instructors who are not just know math, who love math, who loves
Mhm.
to teach. I love to teach math. I mean, that's just who I am. If somebody comes a question, they said, I always tell all my relatives, I said, hey, if you have any issues in mathematics course or something, anything, ask me about it. And I will give you the shortcuts and so forth. They are just like anything else, shortcuts. I will give you one thing that people not understand it. In geometry, people, it's difficult. If you guys have heard of SOHCAHTOA, that is a simpler ways to remember those triangle sides, how to come up with equations. So those are kind of things I think if teachers put that into the students' head at a younger age, it will stick with them. And you don't learn everything once. You learn over time, just like a child learns to crawl, then learns to walk. But when he or she is walking, then they start to run. After that, it's normal. They don't
Mhm.
even have to think about it. So that's my thought is, hey, let's make these students feel comfortable. So when they are taking those courses, by the time they're ready to go to college, it's natural for them.
And so what I hear you saying, Mr. Mon, is that you definitely want to expand not only the knowledge base of the STEM education, but also bring more members of the community into STEM education.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
The parents need to be involved, and we need to bring those instructors.
Mhm.
Even people like us. Okay, we are working full time. There's a lot of other people who are really good at it. Hey, bring them in if they're good, if they're helping. They have them teach a class. It
Mhm.
takes a little bit extra work. I went through a college one time, mathematics course, and he had master. He didn't have PhD, but he came and taught math at Sac State.
Mhm.
One of the best instructors I've seen, because he knew the subject matter. And main thing is knowing the subject matter and loving the subject matter is what's going to move it, I think, forward.
Mhm. And one of
Yeah.
go on, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Panu. So just something to add on to it, Mr. Ajmer, like you said, we need to promote towards the STEM. And I think that's a very imperative area that we need to invest into it, because a lot of time being in city of Tracy, we're hearing, okay, why the jobs are not coming here? Why there's no university coming here? Because when they look at overall the San Joaquin County's percentage of how many students are graduating or going to the college degree program, it's very less. And that is one of the challenge that we're facing, that why companies are not here, because you don't have a workforce, a
Mhm.
skilled workforce here. And we need to invest into that so we can prepare these students that they can go to the university, they can graduate, and more companies can come here and they can make this their hometown. And right now, it just no university here. no IT jobs are coming here, and I think that would add a lot of value to it if we start going into that direction. So I
Yeah,
just wanted to supplement on that part.
definitely, I agree, Raj. I mean, thank you very much about that. And then the thing is, since it's a remote work location now, all those high tech companies in the Bay Area, they can have offices built in Tracy, and I think we can try to push for that right now. Hey, you need people, and it's so much cheaper here for them. And I mean, it's at home too, but they can have a local office as needed. A lot of companies are doing that. So if they have any issue or question or something, they need to have a meeting in live in person. It can be done right here in town. And I think in the long run, that can help move some of their offices, not the corporate offices, but at least uh, offices into Tracy, and that will help
Correct.
Tracy in the long run. And then that in turn again will help encourage students and teachers in the schools and everything to go go push the program even further.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. Yeah, no, we have now Tracy, Mountain House, adjacent cities where their parents are very tech savvy. So yeah, STEM education, that is must to learn them, to encourage the companies and yeah, to make them competitive for the job force or the environment. So one
Yes.
more thing is you mentioned about the equal treatment, equal opportunity, and the anti-bullying. So what are your thoughts? So how would you approach those scenarios?
Uh, just like any program, if you want to push that program forward, you have to put awards toward it. And anybody who's breaking those rules, just like we have, if you're speeding, you get a ticket. So the people who are bullying type students or teachers, whatever may be, we need to look at to those closely, and they write the policies and so forth. Hey, these are the consequences. If you do this, this will happen. If you do this, and not just make them, you have to enforce those policies if you want those policies to work. Just like at work, we all know about security. We have a non-disclosure, all of us do, right? And we know it stays right in the policy. Say, hey, if you disclose anything about this information about the company, you can be fired on the spot, and it does happen. And if those policies aren't enforced, then people will start continue to do it. So those kind of things, create the policies that are for awarding people for doing a good job, and I guess maybe the punishes word or what a reprimanding for them for doing something that's wrong. And anti-bullying, like I mentioned, my son was part of the anti-bullying program with working with the Tracy of city mayor of city of Tracy when he was in high school. So we used to talk about it, things going on, and he's an athlete. He's basketball team and everything, captain and so forth. So he saw some from some people, but being an athlete also helps. My encouragement, I was an athlete myself, playing American football and so forth. I think getting students into everything, mental, physical, everything, it helps the the bullying program. If you can stand up for yourself and your friends stand up for you, that bullying will reduce and eventually it will go away. So have programs that help students understanding about it. First thing is doing anything is not having knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, you don't know what to do. If you have the knowledge, then you can do something about it. And when we make those policies, we make those opportunity. If somebody is being bullied and they come to the school, the teacher, we need to have a process, that's clear and transparent. So it should come up. We should maybe like we do in company change management. So tracking what's going on will also help. A lot of time, if you're not tracking what's going on, you don't know what happened yesterday. Lessons learned and so forth, it's all forgotten because nobody knows about it. But when we have those, and it doesn't take too much. You have people in the team already, so forth, that's tracking things like that, and then making use of that. Eventually, when you have that culture, it'll be a cultural change. When you have that culture change where anti-bullying in school district of Tracy is not accepted, people will stop doing it. I seen it, we see it everywhere. We see it nationwide, we see it worldwide. Until you do something about it, it doesn't happen. So I would push for that and make sure everybody feels comfortable. Biggest thing is make the students feel comfortable, make it known knowledge to all the students and their parents. So they can come, they have somebody to go to if they're facing that.
Right. No, thank you, Admir, for pointing it out. That is correct. The knowledge, information that should be with the students from the early age, what bullying looks like, what these kinds of things look like. So they, among their friends, they can bring a culture which will just eradicate these kinds of things.
Correct.
And now it's back to Mr. Pannu.
Yeah. Mr. Mon, I'm gonna put you on the spot for a little bit here. Is as was mentioned earlier, you were one of several candidates that are running for the school board, and typically, in speaking with the candidates and understanding their core values and their beliefs, there's also an elevator pitch. And an elevator pitch is, we're gonna give you like 20 to 30 seconds, and if this had to be your commercial or your infomercial that went out, what would you want to know? What would you want to say to any parent or anybody that's in the Tracy community that sees this video that doesn't have an opportunity to see the entire thing? So what's going to be your 20, 30 seconds of, this is me, it's Mr. Mon, and these are my core values. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to think about that, but then we'll have you say your elevator pitch. So that way, as we hear from more candidates and also highlight you, that we're able to understand your message fully. So I'm going to give you some time to think about that, and then I'm going to ask you for your 20 to 30-second elevator pitch, okay? Drink some water.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I'm running for the school board because I think we can help improve the education system. It's a great system. My children, my three children, two daughters and son went through this Tracy. We have the IB program, we have the AP program. Okay, so I understand my eldest daughter, she was a valedictorian in 2007 with the diploma in IB, in international. Okay, uh, IB program. So I like to see that opportunity for other students and their parents. I want them to feel comfortable if they have any issues and feel comfortable asking for how can they have a good education that can help them qualify to go to college. And then obviously once you get college education, I'm a proponent of at least getting a bachelor's because that's pretty common nowadays. Okay, but encourage them. If somebody does not want to or cannot, that's a different story. But if they want to, we should be there to help them and then guide them as needed. The stumbling blocks for most people, first one is going to be the bullying. Second one is not being heard, not being treated, as given the opportunity. And the third one is their self-confidence. So I want them to students to feel confident that, hey, the resources are there.
Mhm.
So if you have any question, come to us. Even if we have to create one department in the whole school district, if parents have issues or students have issues, they want to know guidance. As you know, when we go to counselors, so they can go to, I would call it counseling, but more of guidance. So they can go in there and learn about it, find out about it, even having classes about it. These are the kind of things, as we know, are done with these big Fortune, 100, Fortune 50, whatever you want to call it, Fortune 500 companies. They train us again and again. Every year they train us on security. They train us on what are our requirements. They train us on anti-harassment. They train us on discrimination and so forth. Why cannot we have something similar? Not maybe as involved, but as the basic, so people, parents, and the students know that they are being looked after, and we're not there just sitting, filling a warm seat. We are there really listening to them and giving them the opportunity to improve life. In education, hey, anybody, anytime, anywhere, education will bring you step forward. If it's not for you, I'm not going to push you to go further. But if you want that opportunity, I want you to feel comfortable getting that opportunity.
I think it's a good time to stop here. And I would encourage all the audience or the future audience who will be listening to this show later on. If you have any question, if you need any clarifications, you need to talk to Mr. Ajmer Singh Man in person, please do let us know. We can convey your questions to them. We can connect you with them. And Mr. Man, if you have any number or contact information or email address that you would like to share with the audience, please do so.
Yeah, they can reach out to me on my email. It's MANNAJ one numeral one at msn.com. That's basically my last name, man. AJ is my nickname, and then one msn.com, and I will respond to them, as soon as I can, and feel comfortable. That's what I'm here for, and I want to make sure everybody feel comfortable that we communicate and then we respond to questions or issues that people have.
Great, and we'll make sure we post that information on our video after we stop here. So anybody who ever needs in the future the contact information of Mr. Rahman, they can grab it from there. So thank you so much for your time, Mr. Rahman, and thank you so much for your time, Kamaljit Singh Pannu. We're very glad and honored to have this all of you guys on this platform. So thank you so much.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ